Come unwrap some holiday magic this season in Denver, where the lights are brighter and the shopping is grander, where the season feels a whole lot more wonderful. Discover great hotels and more things to do at milehighholidays.com.
Waiting for mortgage rates to drop could be a costly mistake. Once rates drop, new home buyers will enter the market and prices will soar even higher. At Churchill Mortgage, you can get a free analysis and learn how to avoid the trap of waiting for interest rates to drop. Buy now and refi later at churchillmortgage.com. This is a paid advertisement. NMLS ID 1591. NMLSconsumeraccess.org. Equal housing lender. 1749 Mallory Lane, Suite 100, Brentwood, Tennessee 37027.
It's the Pop Culture Field Manual.
Welcome back, everybody, to the Pop Culture Field Manual podcast, sitting right at the intersection of weapons, action, the military, and pop culture. Folks, it's good to be back once again, and we just want to tell you right off the bat how much we love and appreciate you. If you love and appreciate us, you can you don't have to do anything. Actually, I don't want you to think that there's like any like parameters or like rules for like, giving us stuff. But if you want to give us stuff, if you want to support the podcast, you can do this a number of different ways. We have Buy Me a Coffee. You can buy us a coffee. Just kind of donate, and that helps us out. We have a Patreon, folks, a wonderful Patreon with all sorts of amazing tiers, with all sorts of amazing benefits. And we got merch now.
Yes, we do have merchandise coming directly at you, high quality, awesome design, in your face. So, if just listening to the podcast isn't enough for you, you can wear it on your body.
Yeah, you can wear it on your body. You can cuddle a pillow. You can drink your Morning Joe.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, you can cuddle. Yeah, you nailed it right on the head. I was like trying to take a second. I was trying to take a second to realize we were talking about. But yeah, we have interior pillows with the famous PCFM grenade located on them. We have mugs with the famous saying, the Q Music mugs with also the grenade. And then we have hoodies and a t-shirt in different colors. The hoodie's only black, but that can change in the near future. You let us know. We're excited about that. But yeah, that's what we got. If you guys would like to support us in any way, you have those options. And we appreciate all the support you're giving us thus far. And now that we have pulled off that Band-Aid, we have a very special episode for you all. This one coming at you, whizzing like a bullet, Killshot. Bang!
That's right. The perfect time to pull that trigger. The moment you look into the eyes of the man who killed your wife and daughter, landing the final blow the second before your enemy strikes. Perfect timing. The culmination of all your training, that perfect moment. Ladies and gentlemen, this is Killshot. We are celebrating death today. Not just death. Beautiful death, elegant death, perfect deaths in pop culture. The most satisfying kills that we can come up with on this episode. Hopefully the first of many. Strike hard, strike fast, fade away into the night. It's Killshot, folks.
Booyah, Killshot. This is going to be a fun episode. Because, how much death is in pop culture?
A lot.
A lot. Honestly, it was overwhelming making this episode because it's like, what do I have to pick from? And it was like too much. It was overwhelming, but Izzy and I have broken down a couple very specific scenarios from big movies, TV shows, video games, and pop culture, and we're going to share with you why we picked them and basically what they are. So, you ready to get into this?
Let's do it, man.
Let's do it. What do you got first on the list? What's your first pick?
The first pick I have is from Game of Thrones, Season 5, Episode 8, Jon Snow. Jon Snow kills a White Walker at Hard Home. Folks, this was when the show was still good, and the White Walkers were seemingly unstoppable.
Yeah,
I think Samwell Tarly had accidentally killed one with Dragonglass. This is the only thing that we knew could stop them, right?
Yeah,
because their ice weapons could slice through any steel, any armor. They were just taking fools out, and this was when they were trying to evacuate the wildlings from Hardhome, like on the eastern part of the lands by the wall, and everyone was just getting taken out, and nobody could stop them. They went back in. There's like dragon glass they had to get so they can make weapons with it. So he goes back in, and the one like bald dude like tries to take the White Walker out and just gets skewered. You know? And that White Walker's like throwing Jon Snow all around. And you think
letting him have it.
Yeah, let him have it. Jon Snow loses his sword, it like flies outside of the hut. And he goes for it, and he's like not doing well. He gets thrown around, he gets the wind knocked out of him, and you think this is going to be another one of those Game of Thrones moments where
Game
a main
of Thrones
character
is classic for just killing off a very loved character. And we're in season 5, so anything is on the table.
That's right. Yeah, we are used to it right now. Our souls are amply scarred from the previous 4 seasons. So you think this could be it, and the show does a good job of setting it up that way. And right as the White Walker strikes, Jon Snow brings up his sword, which is made from Valyrian steel, which we find out as he blocks it is the only other thing that can block a White Walker's weapon. And you can see on the White Walker's face the
like,
surprise.
Oh,
yeah. And then he tries to kill Jon Snow, and in 2 moves, Jon Snow slices to him, and he shatters him into 1,000 ice pieces.
You know what's really interesting is the White Walkers are such powerful beings in the Game of Thrones universe, but, you know, are they actually good fighters? I don't think so.
Well, I mean, they don't have to be.
Exactly. So I don't think, because they are so powerful. I mean, they're unpenetrable, you know, as far as we knew up until this. And with Dragonglass, like, there were so few kryptonites that they had that did they actually need to train and, like, be good fighters?
Yeah.
No.
They
so
really
I
don't.
think in like a upstanding battle, like mano y mano, if they were just like regular people, they would get schooled.
Yeah.
Absolutely.
Well, this one does, because once we find out that Jon Snow can block his
That's it.
yeah, it's 2 moves. He like
bang, bang.
pushes it off. They do 1 slice, and then he does a cross body slice and just shatters the guy.
Yeah, because I mean,
Yeah.
if it was anything else, it would just go boing.
Yep.
And he'd be like, "What's up? I'm close enough. Stab."
Yeah, exactly.
Yeah, you know.
Yeah, I think the White Walkers need to get off their high horses and to start doing some combatives training.
Yeah, they're skeleton horses.
Yeah, they're
and
skeleton. Skeleton
realize
dragons.
that they ain't shit.
Yep.
But that's a good one, man. I'm glad you brought that up, just because Game of Thrones is kind of making a comeback now in pop culture with House of the Dragon.
House of the Dragon.
Have you seen it?
I saw the first episode, came out recently.
Yeah,
I
started
okay.
it today.
Yeah, it was okay.
Yeah, I mean, it's very Game of Thronesy.
Yeah.
But that uncle really gives creeper vibes.
Oh, wait, Matt Smith's character?
Yeah.
Yeah,
The knight, the uncle of the girl. Like, I'm getting really
the brother
weird.
of the king?
Yeah, I'm getting real pedo vibes from him.
Oh, really?
Yeah.
Oh, like when they're in the chamber together and he's kind of looking at her. I mean, the Targaryens that whole series.
Yeah,
is
they're
very
really
incestuous.
incesty. Yeah, it's very incest. I mean, they have to keep that bloodline very, very pure.
Yep.
I think he's going to go for her. Because, I mean, in the scene, because I started it today, I didn't finish it. But like the scene in the brothel, like he's not into it. You know, he's just like
he's not into this.
He's
other
not
girl.
into the girls, but she's like, I know who you want. You want the Targaryens.
Yes.
And then he's like, doesn't say a word. Yeah, but he's giving me massive pedo vibes. So I don't know how I feel about it.
He did. I could tell. You can tell Matt Smith did a few push-ups for that role when he's all walking across the floor naked, because he's a very skinny British dude. I saw him live. I met him once.
Oh, at a book signing. What's his name? Matt Smith.
Matt Smith. Yeah, I was working. This was 2010, and all my stories were very boring.
Such an ugly guy.
And all my stories are very boring. But it's like I met them, and that's the story, is that we met and spoke, and then he left. But I was working at a restaurant in West Hollywood, and he was staying there, and he came in. So like, do you have a menu? That was pretty good British.
Yeah,
and I said, yeah, I have a menu, and I gave it to him. He said, oh, thanks. And he left. And that was it. That was
you didn't ask him if you had any advice for struggling actors?
No, I was going to get to it, but I didn't. I really liked Doctor Who at that time, so I didn't want to embarrass myself.
I don't know. Matt Smith, I think he's going to play the character well, if based off my assumption of what's going to unfold, just because he looks like a creeper to me, man.
I think he's going to die in the first season.
He's got that really heavy eyebrow that like always makes it look like the creeper stare.
He's got a strong brow. He's got that very strong British brow.
Yeah. I don't know. I think he fits the character really well, because I think he is up to no good.
I mean, he's definitely not. They're setting up. Well, I'll let you finish it, but they got to set up the series. They got to set up the conflict and who's going to be who and where.
Yeah.
I hope they bring in like everybody from the Seven Kingdoms, because it sounds like on this show that they're focusing very much on just the family.
Yeah.
The Targaryens.
Because in the beginning they're like the only force that could stop the Targaryens was the family itself or something like that. Yeah. I don't know. What time period is it?
It's 172 years before the events of Game of Thrones.
Okay.
172 years.
Yeah. Okay.
And it's based off of stuff that George R. R. Martin has written. Fire and Blood, I think it's called. I didn't know that, which gives me a little bit of hope because hopefully it's something that he's finished. Well, it's something that he's finished that they can just go through and adapt.
And not try to rewrite the ending and put a cripple boy as the king, who's literally the most worthless character in the entire series.
We call him.
King. Yeah. Terrible, right?
Bran the cripple.
Yeah, Bran the fucking spam. Dude.
Bran the totally disinterested because he's always just off flitting about through time and space.
Yeah, the most useless. The three-eyed raven was such a useless concept. I mean, it was just like a side story that had nothing to do with anything.
No, it was just to give him his psychic powers so that we could learn about Jon Snow's background.
Yeah, that's lame. But anyways, you know what's not lame? My first kill that I put on the list. And I recently just watched the movie Hamburger Hill. And first of all, the movie was recorded in 1987. Brutal war movie based off the 101st Screaming Eagles. They call Screaming Eagles something else. He's like puking canaries or something.
In the movie
or something. But like, I liked it. I obviously had a lot of different elements to it. It's not only a war movie, but it dealt with like obviously the racial tension of like the black soldiers having to enlist because that's all they can do essentially because they can't go to school because they can't afford it. Then they have the other where there's like obviously at home, the war is not support. It's not a supported war. Vietnam, so like
public policy and sentiment turned against
exactly. So and like I mean, a lot of the Vietnam movies we think about is like 69, in the 70s. But this one takes place in 68 at the almost start of the Vietnam, and like there's like a character. I mean, and it's hard to like identify these characters because they get killed like so fast.
Don't get attached
don't get attached to anybody. Speaking of Game of Thrones, don't get attached to anybody in this movie because they literally just all die. But it's based off I think it was a 12-day or 11-day assault of Hilltop. Like, oh man, I'm trying to remember it off the top of my head. Was it Hilltop 987 or something like that?
Hilltop 187.
187. Okay, there you go. 187. Yeah. But but it's it has some crazy battle sequences. I mean, these guys try to take this hill for like 11 or 12 days, and they're meeting heavy North Vietnamese army resistance, and it's just they have to go up and down it at least 10, 11 times before they actually get it. But it's so much. It definitely gives you an appreciation of like the GI or the basic infantryman, like putting all special operations to the side. Like big army guys get after it,
Yeah, they do, man. I mean, they are the bulk of the force. The infantry, man. Yeah, we can do precision stuff. We have specialized training.
Yeah, but they're there. Like
they got to take the town. They got to take the
town. They got to take the hill, literally, and that's what they do in this movie. But there's a specific scene where there's a private named Duffy. He's the M60 machine gunner, and they are, I think, assaulting the hill for the first time. It's either the first time or the second time, and there is a ground-in bunker line on the hill that's the MVA's basically giving them extremely heavy contact, and they are bounding their way up into it, throwing frag grenades. They're like within 20 feet of the enemy, like looking at them in the face, and literally just they're hucking grenades at them. That the Vietnamese are hucking grenades back. It's a crazy, like the entire movie is just action packed. Once it starts, it doesn't stop. And basically, Private Duffy like goes up on his own and just starts assaulting, running in the bunker line, and just start killing Vietnamese with his M60, just rocking and rolling, like going full cyclic, which is just basically like, and another private is like trying to assault with him, and he goes in this crater where you think there's a dead Vietnamese guy, but the Vietnamese guy's just injured, and he like jumps on him, and they go hand-to-hand combat, and like they're struggling, and he doesn't have a knife, but like the private calls out to Duff, and he's like, Duffy, help me! And he like pushes the guy against the side of the crater, and Duffy turns around and just lets out a giant burst into the guy's face, and his head just explodes.
Oh,
and
man.
it shows it all. It's so graphic. It's so brutal.
Practical effects too. That's the 80s.
And it's so beautiful. It's, but then again, obviously it gets really bad because after this scene happens, an MVA soldier comes behind Duffy and like shoots him with an SKS, and then he dies. But yeah, don't get attached to Duffy. But I thought that don't get attached to no one. But I thought that scene was like brutal, but it stood out to me just because obviously this guy's head is turned into goo when he opened it up with that 7.62. It's yeah, that one was on my list. If you haven't seen Hamburger Hill, check it out. It's on Amazon Prime if you have a membership, I'm pretty sure, so you can watch it for free if you have a subscription that you pay for.
Free with a paid subscription.
Yeah, free with a paid subscription. But yeah, no, that not only was that scene good, but the movie touches on a lot of points. And it's 100% on Rotten Tomatoes.
Really?
Yeah, it's 100% on Rotten Tomatoes.
Oh, that's interesting.
Yeah, it's a good movie. So if you have the time, check it out.
I saw that movie when I was a kid, man. My mom and dad let us watch way too many movies that were not appropriate for kids. So I remember seeing that like when I was a little kid. We watched that, and we watched like Full Metal Jacket. We were like 7 years old.
Yeah. You got a boyfriend in Vietnam?
Is that where Me Love You Long Time, or is that Full Metal Jacket?
That's Full
Metal Jacket's Me Love You Long Time.
Did you say Full Metal Jacket?
Yeah, I did say Full Metal. Oh, yeah, I did say just now, and that's what you were quoting. Oh, yeah.
Yeah, no, that's from Full Metal Jacket. You got a boyfriend? Oh, me so horny.
Yeah.
Yeah, no, that's from Full Metal Jacket. What else you got? Or what's next on your list, man?
Next on my list. Talk about it. Enemy at the Gates. Vasily Zaitsev, played by Jude Law, kills Major Koenig.
The German.
Yeah, the German guy, Ed Harris. They're the fighting snipers.
Yes. Isn't there a self-sacrifice scene?
There is. That's kind of one of the reasons why I like this particular kill is that obviously Ed Harris has been hired or been contracted to go after and find Vasily Zaitsev.
Yeah.
And you find out...
He's a national icon.
Yeah, he's a national icon. He wants to kill the hero. And Joseph Fiennes is kind of a weasel in this movie. He's kind of he's like a wheeling dealing kind of politician kind of guy, not a very good soldier. And so I forget exactly what he has done to kind of dishonor himself, but the only way he feels he can redeem himself is Ed Harris is out there somewhere, and they're kind of stuck in this like building, and he's like, I'm going to do you a favor. I'm going to reveal where the sniper is. And he stands up.
And he's like, no.
He's like, no, don't do it, don't, no. And, and he stands up.
Yeah, so we can see where he's engaging from and get the muzzle flash.
Gets snapped in the medulla. And then...
Calling all hunters and outdoor enthusiasts. It's time to discover the difference with Alpine Optics. When it comes to premium optics, Alpine is where form meets function. Their state-of-the-art devices are built for those with the highest demands. As dedicated hunting enthusiasts and nature observers, Alpine understands that you need 100% reliability when out in the wild. With Alpine, you won't have to compromise. Whether you're stalking, night hunting, or observing wildlife, Alpine Optics offer top-class materials and cutting-edge technology that keeps you in control, no matter the conditions. And here's the best part. Use promo code EXPLORE15 and get a fantastic 15% off your Alpine Optics purchase. So visit alpineoptics.com today and experience the wild like never before. Don't lose track. Get a 15% discount with the code EXPLORE15 at alpineoptics.com. Alpine Optics. Discover the difference.
'Tis the season for chicken fingers at Raising Cane's. Warm up with hand-battered, cooked-to-order chicken fingers, crispy crinkle-cut fries, garlicky buttered Texas toast, and the real source of holiday magic, cane sauce. And while you're treating yourself, don't forget to treat everyone on your list to Cane's gift cards and New York City-inspired plush puppies that benefit pet organizations. Happy holidays from Raising Cane's Chicken Fingers. One love.
It cuts to Ed Harris, where he's at. And then it's like he's like hanging out and he's watching, through a scope and stuff like that. And then like nothing happens. He doesn't see anything. And finally he gets to the point where he's like, okay, it's probably okay to move. So it takes him a long time. He gets out of his like hidey hole and he's like creeping, like he's slowly moving in on the position. And then he's like out in the open and then he just stops and he realizes, like, he looks to his side and Jude Law's like right there. He's got a bead on him. And then I think what he does, doesn't he, like, he stops and he takes off his hat, like he knows he's gonna die.
He knows
so he just stops and he takes off his hat.
He lost his chest boot.
And then Jude Law just snaps him and he blows his head off. So good, because it's like the culminating kill And Vasily Zaitsev finally comes and reigns supreme and becomes a hero of the people.
Yeah.
The horrible People's Republic of Russia.
Yeah. I mean, that movie, I love Enemy at the Gates. First of all, it just shows you how, like, Russians don't give a shit about their soldiers.
Dude, yeah.
In the beginning, one gets a
Stalingrad.
rifle, one gets the ammunition. When the man with the rifle is killed, the one with the ammunition picks up the rifle. And it's just like, could you imagine you just get, like, a box and you're like, crap.
Yep. And it's not if the guy is killed, it's when he's killed.
Yeah.
So they're literally just flooding the streets of Stalingrad with bodies. Yeah.
Yeah. You know, I had a Russian squad leader, like straight Russian squad leader, when I was at 275.
Oh.
And he came from the big army. And I remember him telling a story where he's just like, yeah, the way the big army does room clearing is just put as many people in the room as possible. He's like, they can't kill us all.
Oh my god!
So it'd be like, obviously, because we would practice really precision room clearing, like 4-man teams, like doing it the way it's supposed to be done. But he's like, no, we would just pile as many people in the building because like numbers conquer. And that's like a perfect example of exactly what the Russians did in that movie. They're just like, if we just keep sending waves of men, they're gonna run out of bullets eventually, right? Right?
So heartless, man.
Yeah. But that's a great one.
Yeah,
man.
it's one of it's one of the good ones.
And
I mean, sniper kills are so satisfying. I don't know exactly why. I think it's probably just the patience and the precision and the payoff. You know,
it is. It's
the 3 Ps: patient, precision, and payoff. I just made
there you go. 3 Ps. Someone annotate that. Write it down. Put it in the doctrine.
That's right.
But speaking of sniper kills, that's next on my list. We've beaten this movie to death on this podcast, and for good reason, because it's a great movie. Saving Private Ryan. So many action sequences in that movie. It was hard to pick one, and I'm going to say that multiple times because all my picks are one of my favorite movies, and of course, Saving Private Ryan is way up there on my list. But
Killshot Part 2 comes
specifically the scene when Private Jackson, our God-fearing sniper on the Ranger team, is shoots the Nazi sniper through his optic.
Yep.
And I mean, obviously, the scene has some tragedy in it when.
This is when Vin Diesel's
character.
Yeah, there's like a family in a bombed out building. And he's like, he's like, we can't stray from the mission. We got to keep moving.
Yeah, because they keep trying to hand the daughter.
She
off
reminds
to him.
me of my sister, and then he grabs her, and then bam, he gets hit by a sniper.
He takes the little girl, and then all of a sudden, sniper shot. He gets hit, and he's laying out there. He's not dead, but I mean, whenever any type of sniper operation, like you don't go out and try to grab him because you'll just kill yourself.
You seen that video from Coffee or Die Mag?
No.
Oh, it was
Really?
overhead It was some
He's
dude. I don't know if he was Ukrainian or Russian. No, it was an overhead shot, a drone shot of a dude dragging another dude.
And he just gets
boom,
taken.
He gets taken out.
That's why you don't. You always, as we say in the Army, the best medicine on the battlefield is fire superiority.
Absolutely.
You got to eliminate the threat before you can do anything. So
100%.
obviously it's emotionally and psychologically straining when you're literally watching your buddy bleed out right there. And not to mention the scene does a really good job because he's like holding up the letter with the blood on it. He's like, you got to give it to my mom or my dad.
You got to copy it for me. It's got blood on it.
He's like, you got it's got blood on it. He's just like, stay down, man, don't move.
Yeah,
but then, Private Jackson obviously is doing a counter sniper op, and he's like repositioning to like this bundle of rubble, and he's like, if I was a sniper, where would I be? He's like, I would be in that clock tower. So he's like, he gets up on his Springfield rifle with the big old glass on it, and he's sitting there, and like it cuts to the Nazi sniper, and he's like looking through. He's like, you got his glass on Vin Diesel's character, and he's like kind of scanning, and then he scans to the rubble pile, and you just see a small circle there, and all of a sudden you see a muzzle flash, and you don't hear anything.
Yeah.
And then all of a sudden you hear, zik, and it just goes right through his eyepiece and through his eye that he's looking through the optic, and boom, he's dead.
Has that ever happened in real life? Isn't that kind of a legendary kind of thing?
I don't know, because that's a good question. Has anybody been killed through their glass?
Yeah, shot through the sniper optic.
Yeah, that would be an interesting thing to look up, just because is real or fake, but it's still really cool, like super cool. Because I mean, optics, even back then, they have numerous numbers of glasses through it. Plus, you have the tube. I mean, if you got shot in your glass, I think the glass would get in your eye for sure. Because, I mean, you don't just you have like an ocular lens, which is the one you're looking through, and then you have another lens, which is at the back, and the way it goes through, there's numerous lenses throughout the optic, because light comes in, gets redirected, and then and then there's light that goes in. I'm not an expert, but this is what I remember when someone that was an expert was explaining it to me. But yeah, I don't know if an actual bullet would like go all the way through, because when you shoot through glass, like one of the things you realize is like glass really affects the trajectory of a round.
Yeah.
So like if you're shooting out a windshield, it's like common practice to basically just like shoot out of the hole you made with the first round.
Yeah.
Just because if you keep shooting through glass, it's like it can, especially if you're going for far, it can definitely throw the trajectory of that round off.
Yeah.
So that would be an interesting fact to look up if it's possible to do that.
I just did a quick Google investigation. It looks like some people are saying Carlos Hathcock did it in Vietnam, that he shot a sniper through his own scope.
Nice.
I guess he was looking for him, and he was looking for something that didn't have the rhythm and the flow.
The rhythm and the flow, baby.
And he saw something, a glimpse of something, and apparently that was the Viet Cong scope.
Yeah.
And he shot him through the scope. So
fair.
You guys can verify that, triple verify that for me.
Yeah, quadruple, whatever you have. But still, Saving Private Ryan, amazing movie. Gotta check off the Saving Private Ryan box. So I promise I won't make any more references to Saving Private Ryan in this episode.
I promise I won't make any references to Aliens except for the one I just made to Aliens just now.
Oh, okay.
Yeah.
Well, you got a scene from Aliens or what?
No. I challenged myself not. I mean, there's so many good kills in that one, but like when she blasts the queen alien out of the airlock. That's a great kill. Anyway, Preston, Christian Bale slices off Brant's face in Equilibrium, the movie Equilibrium.
I don't think I've seen Equilibrium.
Ooh, this is a hidden gem, man. I don't know what happened at the time when this came out, but this was like a hot, awesome, well done action movie.
This just looks like Matrix.
Well, it was kind of around the same time of the Matrix era, so it was definitely not a Matrix clone, but it was definitely in the same vein. But it's basically, Equilibrium is a 2002 movie with Christian Bale in it, and it's in the future, and all of society's ills, supposedly, had been cured by the elimination of all emotion. Everybody takes a drug that makes them not feel emotions, and basically it's like a Fahrenheit 451 where Christian Bale's character is a cleric, a phaeton cleric or something like that. But they basically go around destroying art and culture. Like they find
anything that makes you feel,
and paint anything that would make you feel anything, music, all that kind of stuff. Well, what begins to happen is through a series of events, he stops taking the drug and he starts to feel again, and then he starts changing his ways, and he wants to like free people basically. So in the movie, Taye Diggs plays another guy, Brant, and in the beginning of the movie, they're kind of like rivals, you know? They're like, who's going to be the better cleric, the better guy? And they have like a practice thing where they go at each other. So it kind of sets up this idea of them like, oh, they're kind of equally matched, you know? Like, what if they really tried to kill each other? And then it comes to the end, and he's about like Brand's like the last dude before like the final dude, the final boss.
Sure.
Which is like the president, you know, that Christian Bale was going for. And he's like, all right. He's like, you know, he talks a big game, and he's like, looks like we're going to find out who the best guy is. And they get real close, and like Christian Bale just like does a move and like walks past him, and like Taye Diggs is standing there, and he turns his head to the side. You can see like the side of his face to the camera, and his face, the front of his face just slides off.
Nice.
Like he just sliced his face off, like just like that. It was nothing. It was took 2 seconds, and you're like, oh, like almost as quickly as you see it, it's over, and he's on to like
kind of like when in Resident Evil, the laser beam thing, where the guy's like it slices in the cubes, he's normal, and then he just falls in the cubes.
Exactly. I hated that because I hated that scene. I don't know why I hated that scene because all they did was like kill just a bunch of characters really quickly. That it was just like, okay, like that's like an easy, dumb way to just get rid of a bunch of people, you know. That like, okay, whatever.
Well, from the movie Equilibrium, I googled it, and their flag really looks like a swastika.
Oh, I'm sure there's got to be some like totalitarian, fascistic kind of like symbolism there and stuff because it's a totalitarian government.
Oh yeah, they're definitely. I mean, they're getting rid of art and things that make people feel anything. Yeah, absolutely. That is textbook definition to totalitarianism.
Yep. So yeah, and Sean Bean's in it, and he dies as well he should. William Fichtner's in it.
William Fichtner,
our buddy from Officer What's His Face. William Fichtner's in it.
Yeah, nice.
But really good. I think it kind of came and went. It was really under the radar, and I find glad because the ending. Because just one more thing about this movie, the fighting is like a very stylized. What they do is they have like the 200 most statistically likely places that a person will be in a room in a fight, and they are trained to, with their double guns, go through those positions in like 10 seconds, and so it's like really cool and stylized. And so he has this gun fist fight with the final guy because they're all trying to get a shot on each other really close, and they're all like just dodging and blocking. So they're shooting just like off of each other's flank and right next to each other's head.
Don't shoot where they're at. Shoot where you think they're going to be.
That's right.
I just watched a movie where they're like getting ready to do some like op or mission or something. And one of the main characters is like, don't shoot at them. Shoot where you think they're going to be.
You mentioned that, or you've mentioned that before. You mentioned that recently.
I think so. It must have been a movie. Oh, okay. Day Shift, that Netflix movie with Jamie Foxx and the vampires and shit.
Was that good?
No, it wasn't good. I didn't like it.
Okay,
I thought it had terrible writing.
Maybe I'll watch it sometime.
Yeah, you should. I mean, Terran Tactical did all the weapons training for it.
Oh, cool.
So, like, they have all the Terran guns and shit. And yeah, the weapon scenes are cool, but I think the writing was terrible.
Oh, by the way, one more thing about his faces getting sliced off. A movie that has a special place in my heart, but maybe isn't the best. It was good. Alita, Battle Angel.
Alita Battle Angel.
Yeah.
I haven't seen it. I know about it.
Sci-fi
It was based off
action,
an anime, right?
Based off an manga, yeah, an anime. And the main girl, Rosa Salazar, who I met. I met Rosa Salazar once. I met her at Comic-Con.
Oh, okay.
And,
Did you stand in line to meet her?
No, it was actually cool because she was actually standing next to her own display with Alita. And she was like, and nobody was like talking to her. I'm like, that's the girl. She plays Alita, but she's covered with CGI.
Yeah.
I was like, Rosa, can I get a picture? And she had like a little Alita figurine,
really?
And
it's like, yeah, you give the money to the figurine, and then you could take a picture of it.
Yeah, that's right. Yeah, and I had to pay homage, and like Lakeith Stanfield was there in a purple wig, and I was like, "Can I get a picture with you?" He's like, "Yeah, man." Anyway, but in the movie Alita, there's this guy Zapan played by Ed Skrein, who's like hates her and is always making fun of her, and like they almost get into a fight once, but like the rules of bounty hunters had like prevented them from doing so. But then at the very end, there is he breaks the rules. Like somebody's there, like the police or whatever, like you have broken the rules, and she knows that she can take him on. And so all she does is like as quick as you can blink, she like slices the front of his face off. No. But like he's a cyborg, so he doesn't die, but you can see like his jaw and everything. Stuff, yeah. His face falls off. He's like, "You killed my face!
You killed my face!"
Ah! So,
how hard is it to get one of these?
Yeah, because he's all like done up like super intricate and expensive. Like he's totally vain.
I'm sorry, going back to that Comic-Con figurine, give me the money and I'll take a picture with you. That reminded me of, have you ever seen Workaholics, the TV show?
No.
Oh, you haven't?
I know of it.
Okay, well, there's a very hilarious character in it, and his name is Jet Set Hudson, and he's like this grimy old guy, and he's he's such a minor character, but he's like, says the most weirdest shit possible. Well, anyways, before I joined the Army, I was on Hollywood Boulevard, and he was on the street and the way he is in the show is the way he is in real life. So he literally just plays himself, and his name is Jet Set in the movie, and his name is Jet Set Hudson.
Really?
Yeah. So he literally just plays himself, and I met him, and I was like, oh my God. And I watched Workaholics, so I love the show, and I was like, oh my God, Jet, can I get a picture with you, man? You're hilarious. And he's like, sure. And so he takes a picture with me, and then he goes, well, actually, I'm taking donations. So you got anything to give? And I was like, no, I don't have anything to give. And he's like, well, I'm taking pictures with people to get donations. And I was just like, I don't have any money to give you. And I walked away.
He shouldn't have said it after you took the picture because you got what you wanted.
And I was maybe sophomore, junior in high school.
What money
I don't
you
have
your
money.
Sophomore, man.
Yeah, well, let me just open my piggy bank, and give you the money that I don't have.
Yeah.
But anyways, side note. Terrible side note. Real side note.
You know what's not a side note?
What?
Chris Pratt.
Chris Pratt.
The terminal list.
Yes, that is one of the ones I wrote down. It's fairly new. We've talked about it before. I still stand by this show. Did you finish it?
Not finished. I've got like 2 episodes left.
Okay.
I don't watch as much stuff as you do, of which I'm very ashamed.
I call BS. But anyways, But yeah, I had to throw this in because it is a brutal kill, and it had to make this list. So basically, if you've seen the show before, James Reese is a former Navy SEAL captain. His entire squad or platoon is killed on an op in Syria, and he's like, he doesn't believe that the guy that the CIA is claiming ruined the op, which was one of his SEALs, freaking out. He doesn't believe. He thinks there's some, there's some espionage happening within the unit where the government's trying to cover it up. And, you think he's crazy at first, but then you realize, no, he's not crazy. And like his family is murdered by some like agents. And you find out that and here we go, spoilers, but you already knew that. And he finds out that the guy that killed his family was a hired Mexican cartel soldado. So there's a kind of a crossroads in the middle of the show where it's like, okay, well, do we go after the one that killed my family, or do we go after the one that like planned the op or like corrupted the op? So of course he goes after ones that kills his family first, and they go down to Mexico. They work with like the Mexican special forces. That was a close personal family friend of his. And they set it all up, and they basically assault this objective. And
why don't more infant formula companies use organic, grass-fed whole milk instead of skim? Why don't more infant formula companies use the latest breast milk science? Why don't more infant formula companies run their own clinical trials? Why don't more infant formula companies use more of the proteins found in breast milk? Why don't more infant formula companies have their own factories instead of outsourcing their manufacturing? We wondered the same thing. So we made ByHeart, an infant formula company on a mission to get a lot closer to the most superfood on the planet, breast milk. Our patented protein blend has more of the important and most abundant proteins actually found in breast milk. We're the first and only U.S.-made formula to use organic, grass-fed whole milk, not skim. We even conducted the largest clinical trial by a new infant formula company in a quarter century, with clinically proven benefits like easier digestion, less spit up, and softer poops versus a leading infant formula. And we make our own formula in the USA and our very own factories in Iowa, Oregon, and Pennsylvania. ByHeart, a better formula for formula. Learn more at byheart.com.
They end up getting the guy, and James Reese carries a very famous military tomahawk on his belt. And he basically has the guy pinned to like a telephone pole or just some random pole. And he takes the tomahawk, which has a point on, like, this is a very interesting tomahawk. It's actually, there's a big manufacturer that is kind of the basis of all military tomahawks, I believe. It's kind of the originator of it. It starts with a W. I forgot what it's called. But it basically has a point, like a tip, like an arrow tip on the blade of the tomahawk. So he takes the tomahawk and he basically uses it to cut the guy's intestines out, and then he rips the guy's intestines out and and then goes up and like pulls him out as the guy's alive, and he's like, "Aah!" And he like takes his guts out, and then basically like a noose like strings him up by his intestines, and then he goes, "Walk." And so his intestines is like basically mounted to a pole, like a really high point, and then the guy's just walking, and it's like ripping out of his guts and everything.
Dude.
Yeah, just a brutal scene, but he gets his revenge.
That's the thing, man. They do a really good job of kind of like riding the line between like it's worth it because it's his freaking family that was murdered over some like conspiracy thing. And like, is he going too far? Like, but like,
they ride that
line, man, because it's brutal, man.
It is a brutal scene. Yeah.
Sean Gunn, James Gunn's brother, plays like this skeezy businessman, and like his death scene it bothered me. Like, it was
Is that the
sad.
one where
he's
like tied to the chair? Yeah, and he's like in the suit.
Yeah, he wakes up and sees Chris Pratt, and he throws up in his own gag.
Yeah, because he's got a mouth gag, and he's throwing up, and
it's like it's like coming out the sides, and he's like
low level.
Yeah, he's low level. He's like, it's like, I'm just a guy, man. They like it, and he's like, I want to go home. He's like begging for his life and stuff.
Yeah,
it's like brutal, man.
It is brutal, and then he gives him a bunch of heroin to OD
him. He makes him OD.
He's like, he's like, you are on the list, but I'll make this painless.
Yeah, he's like, it's better than you deserve.
Yeah, I mean, there's so many kills in that show that are just like, whoo, baby.
Yeah, but I like it because a lot of shows today would not go that hardcore route.
No, but if you were the guy that your family was killed and you had the background, you would.
Yeah. Yeah, man.
They're going pretty
light.
Why
people like it because they're like, oh yeah, I would, there'd be nothing to stop me.
Exactly. Like I would take a finger at a time, and then when I'm out of fingers, then I'll take an inch at a time. Yeah, but Anyway, yeah, that was a really good scene. If you haven't seen Terminal List, check it out. It's based off a book written by Jack Carr, a former Navy SEAL. Highly recommend the show, and you can definitely tell a lot of thought went into it. The military advising was spot on, and yeah, just a hell of a roller coaster ride of emotion. So check it out. What do you got? What's next on your list, dude? What should they check out next?
You should definitely check out
Are you out? Are you out? You're out.
We're on to your list, man.
Oh, yeah, sorry. My list, I put so much shit in here.
That's good because I mean, only time constraints kept me from making my list longer. But you have some good stuff on here, too.
I put, so moving on to, if you've listened to this podcast before, you know I've talked about Inglourious Bastards as one of my top 3 favorite movies. Mm-hmm. Specifically the scene, I mean, here we go again. There were so many scenes in that movie, directed by Quentin Tarantino, so many scenes in that movie that it was really hard to pick one specific kill.
Yep.
Just because I was really split between the one I'm about to mention and the scene where that German officer that turned on everybody is like hunting down all the other German officers, and he takes the pillow and puts it over his face and just starts stabbing the pillow with the bayonet. Yeah, that was brutal. So that was originally what I was going to put down, but then I was like, oh no, wait. There's Donnie, the Bear Jew, Donowitz scene where he beats the Nazi officer to death with a baseball bat.
Mm-hmm.
So basically, in this scene, you got Brad Pitt's character, Lieutenant Aldo Rain, and they're in civilians, and they captured some Germans. I think there's like 3 enlisted men and 1 officer, and they're like, show us the locations of like the artillery. And the officer's like, fuck you, and your Jew dogs.
Yep. Yep. He's like an honorable soldier to the end.
Yeah, he holds his ground, which is respectable, but then they're like, you hear that ticking? And there's like this tunnel, and you just hear this, there's like this tunnel, and you hear kunk, like someone's got a baseball bat hitting the sides, like kunk, and he's like, you hear that? He's like, tell me you've heard the legends of the Bear Jew. And he's like, yeah, the guy that goes around and kills Nazis with a baseball bat. And he's like, yeah, and if you don't tell us the location on this map, you're going to meet him. So, like, he basically just holds out, and then there's this long, winded scene of Donnie Danowitz coming out in a wife beater, jacked Italian motherfucker.
Eli Roth, man.
Yeah, and he's like, so you hate Jews, huh? Or something like that. And then he basically has the baseball bat, and you can see like there's blood all over it from previous victims.
Yep.
And then he has the baseball bat to his head, and there's this long-winded scene, like classic Quentin Tarantino, kind of like looking at the character, looking back to their character, and having like a whistle in the background. Pew-wee! But then, he slugs this guy in the head, and like, it's graphic.
Yeah.
He's literally beating this guy to death with a baseball bat, and like his hands are like curling up and stuff because none of it's on the body. It's all on the head.
Yeah.
And like he literally beats this Nazi officer to death with a baseball bat. And then he freaks out and he's like, Donnie Takowitz takes it home, fucking slug. He's like, batter up, you're next. And he's like, tell us the location. And the private's like, boop, and it points exactly to the map.
Yep.
Yeah, after watching that. He's like, I don't want that fate, man. I just work here.
Right, yeah. Nobody, you can't pay him enough to take that bat to the head.
Yeah.
Actually, I'm not the biggest fan of Eli Roth's acting.
Yeah.
So like that scene kind of went south for me right after he beats him to death, and then he's like reveling in it.
Yeah.
I'm like, Eli Roth, you are not a good actor. I'm sorry. You got to stick to directing and writing or whatever, Yeah. Like, I don't. Hey, Eli Roth, nothing personal, man, but I just don't think he's the best actor.
So you're telling me if you stood in line to meet him, you wouldn't ask him for any advice for a struggling actor?
No.
Okay.
No, I'm past that phase in my life. It was a long phase, grant you.
Yeah.
It was a long phase, but that phase is over.
Yeah, but no, that definitely had to make the list just because I remember the first time watching that because someone told me about it.
Yeah.
They're like, you got to watch The Bear Jew. And I'm like, excuse my French. Excuse your French? And like, The Bear Jew, man, you got to watch the scene from Inglourious Bastards. And that's what put me on the movie was that specific, someone telling me about that scene. And then the entire movie was just absolutely perfect. But moving down on this list, I got a couple more here. Not too many, though. Obviously, Maximus Decimus Meridius from Gladiator.
Good old Russell Crowe, man.
Yeah,
this one's starting to get into the classic territory because this is some of you guys might not have been around when this one came out. Won Best Picture the year they put
Great
it out
movie.
there.
Very long, though, so make sure you have time.
Very long, but worth it.
Totally,
totally, it does not drag at all.
Yeah.
You know?
I mean, it kind of, now, like, I have all these movies and things that we put on this list, it kind of mimics, I mean, at least Terminal List kind of mimics the motivation behind having your family killed. Because, like, I guess back then it was the Roman army? Or was they Greek?
We're Romans.
They're Romans. So
yeah.
the Roman army, you only can serve as a general for a specific amount of years before you're killed for your service or something. And like his time was up, but he's like, absolutely not. So he like gets away, but then when he gets away, his family is killed because of his basically like treason.
Well, yeah, they basically the emperor wants to name him emperor. And he doesn't make a public knowledge. It's like a secret meeting.
It's Julius Caesar, right?
I don't know if I forget which Caesar it is, but then Caesar's son, played by a very young Joaquin Phoenix, comes in and actually murders his dad.
Yeah, to take the throne.
And then tells everybody, like, I'm emperor now, Maximus has betrayed us. And so they actually think that he's a traitor, and they beat him, and they take him out to go kill him, and then he escapes. And he tries to make it home, but by the time he's there,
his family. Okay, that makes more sense. Yeah. But then he gets sold into the slave trade and becomes a gladiator.
Yep.
And the scene I'm specifically put on this list is it's not his first rumble in the ring, right? He's established himself as a good fighter.
Yep.
So he's got all his armor because he goes through these like levels in the gladiator. Because I mean, if you're a fresh gladiator, you treat it like crap, right?
Yeah, don't get any training, no weapons.
You're there to die for the entertainment of everybody else. But I mean, he becomes a formidable warrior, and he gets taken by like a gladiator boss or whatever you want to call them, just kind of like the top of the tier.
Like a pit lord.
Yeah, like a pit lord that like owns all the
like
slaves.
A manager,
yeah, like a manager. And basically the scene where he comes out by himself and he's got like 4 or 5 like fold up gladiators against him.
And everybody knows him by this point.
Yeah, everybody knows him, and you know, he destroys these like 4 opponents. And they're like professional gladiators. They got all the, you know, crazy armor on and all the multiple weapons. But there's this specific scene where he's like on the last guy, and he picks up, and all he has is a sword, and he picks up the sword, another sword off the ground. He's like dual wielding. He does a little like flippity flu like a Jedi Knight, and then he like basically ends up sticking both points in the sword in one of the gladiators, and they're just sitting there.
Yeah.
And then he takes a pause, and like the guy's like slowly like falling, and he pulls them both out, and then just decapitates the guy.
So it's like a scissor move.
Yeah, like a scissor move. He brings them together and just decapitates the gladiator, and that's the last dude. And then he's just like takes the best part about this is he takes the sword, one of the swords, and just hucks it at like the royal.
Yeah,
and he's just like, "Are you not entertained?"
Yeah, one of the great lines of movie history. Are you not entertained?
Yeah,
is this not what you came to see?
Yeah, it pumped me up. I totally forgot about it, but I mean, Gladiator is a classic movie.
Yeah,
it deserves all the recognition that it has acquired over the years. But had to take a second to revisit it, just because I mean, even though it's an older movie, it's still one of those greats that you should see.
What is this Sheriff Hunt? What movie is this?
Oh man, have you ever seen Bone Tomahawk?
Oh, I have heard of it. Kurt Russell, right?
Yeah, Kurt Russell.
In his beard phase.
Kurt Russell plays Sheriff Hunt.
Okay.
And like Bone Tomahawk is a brutal Western movie.
Okay.
So I don't want to mess up the synopsis, but pretty much the Sheriff Hunt, Kurt Russell is the sheriff of the town, and at night one of the women or the wives of a guy is kidnapped by savages, they call them.
Okay.
But they're like not your typical Native American that you think. They are like monstrosities. They basically are like their own
kind of Hills Have Eyes kind
exactly.
of thing? Okay.
Yeah, they're basically Hills Have Eyes meet Native Americans.
Okay.
So they like remove their vocal cords and replace it with like a bone that allows them. They don't talk. Like the savages don't talk. They communicate by going like making these like crazy Hills Have Eyes noise.
What?
And like it's 100% Hills Have Eyes knives.
Hills Have Knives.
Hills Have Knives. It's 100% Hills Have Eyes, but in Western times, and they're not nuclear, weirdos.
Yeah.
They're
just
savages.
Weirdos. Yeah.
They're just savages.
They are savages.
Yeah,
not in the derogatory sense. They're just savages.
But I'm pretty sure, and correct me if I'm wrong here, but they like kidnap this woman to like impregnate her or something like that, and she's like in a box, but they go out to go get her, and like everything goes wrong because these savages are nuts. Like they don't use their weaponry is literally bones. That they like sharpen, and at the end,
human bodies and stuff.
Yeah, at the end they have Kurt Russell's character is like on the ground, and there's like two savages over him, and like he's like passed out, and there's a guy in the cage like, "Wake up, sheriff, wake up!" And he takes the tomahawk and he like cuts like at least a 6-inch gash in Kurt Russell's stomach, but he's passed out. And then they have this little whiskey container. What is it? The flask.
Yeah.
And it's like sitting on a pile of like burning embers. And once they cut it, they like pick up the heated flask and then put it in the open gash and like shove it in his belly. And he's like, "Ah!" And he like wakes up because of that. Because obviously it's like cauterizing and everything. And then they have his repeater rifle and they like shoot him in the arm. And then they take the rifle and they go to point it at his junk. And then they pull the trigger, but it's out. So it's like click. And he's like, oh. And then another character comes in the cave and like shoots one of the savages. And then he drops his tomahawk, which is literally just like an elk jawbone, but they sharpened it. And then Kurt Russell like kind of comes to, and he like picks up the tomahawk, chops the savage's foot off, and then he like falls to the ground, and then he just starts hacking away at his head. It's not like a clean decapitation. It's like a
dirty
1, 2, 3, and it's
like probably like a realistic, because
Yeah.
you're not just gonna slice somebody's head off.
Exactly. And then, but that's out of that.
Dude,
it is brutal. But like the way these savages, it's like it is bone chilling. The sound that they make. It's literally like a. They communicate like animals, like but it's like the sound that it's all through their like neck.
Wow,
it's crazy. Yeah, Bone Tomahawk. It's a absolutely crazy movie. You should watch it if you have time.
All right.
It's absolutely nuts. Yeah, but then that was almost the last one I had mentioned here. But then I had to throw in any John Wick movie, and any scene within a John Wick movie is a glorious kill.
I feel like the John Wick movies continue to get better and better with time. Like
this
the third
trailer.
One,
Yeah,
the fourth one looks.
The fourth trailer. They are absolutely innovating on the fight choreography that has to happen.
Donnie Yen's in there, but like in the third one is the library, the big tall dude. So he's like fighting with the books and stuff like that. It's crazy, man.
Yeah, at least in the opener when they're like on horseback.
Yeah,
like they don't hold any punches in the John Wicks. Like they do it. I mean, at least the third one was almost like I have to take a break because like it is nonstop.
Yeah, they do. Yeah, they do. They really do. Like, well, they do a good job of like giving you little breathers. But I think I heard something about the way that they wrote the movie was not the typical way that you write a movie. You don't like write a script and you have a story and you have dialogue and it's like, and then they fight. They actually. I think I remember hearing something about they actually planned the story of the movie around the fights. Yeah,
sure.
And so you guys can dig a little deeper into that if you want to. But do a deep dive. But hey, if we ever have Keanu Reeves on the show, then maybe
it's a matter of time. Give us a couple months. Yeah, give it a couple months. But
then I'll be able to say I met Keanu Reeves.
Yeah, in a cool way.
In an actual yes.
With a pencil.
With a pencil.
With a pencil.
Oh, with a pencil.
But that's my list, man.
That's a good list, man. That I augmented it a little bit, but those are all really. We're gonna have to do a part 2 to this episode because there's just too many good deaths out there in movie land.
And we know you want to.
We didn't get to there's a bunch of good video game deaths out there, and stuff. So TV deaths.
Yeah, stand by for part 2 of this.
Ooh, let's do one more. Actually,
sure.
I just thought of it just now. Game of Thrones. The last good season, which is season 6. Actually, season 7 was all right. But it's Battle of the Bastards, where they're taking back Winterfell.
Yeah.
And like they almost lose, but they end up winning the day. And so it's Sansa Stark with the bastard Bolton, Ramsay Bolton, and he has tortured her. He's raped her. He has caused her so much living hell that she's got him tied up, and he's like, there's nothing you can do to me that's going to make me, beg, or nothing to we're going to replace everything I did to you. And she's like, you're right and stuff. But he has these hunting pit bulls that he has, and he's like covered in blood and stuff. Like he's like injured and bleeding out and stuff like that. And she's like, she just lets the dogs out, and then she just slowly walks away, and she's in frame, and he's behind her. He's covered up by her silhouette, but as she walks, you can hear the dog's like, he's like, get off now. They start eating him alive.
That is one of
and
those.
And then she slowly has a smile
Yeah.
that kind of creeps over her face. The satisfaction. It's so good. It's
you've been waiting a long time. If you watch Game of Thrones, you've been waiting a long time.
You were waiting 6 seasons for Sansa Stark to really come into her own and be like the the awesome chick that we know she can be. She's just been a coward the whole show. Yeah. And then she starts really starts coming into her own. But this is like the moment where she gets all the revenge that anything you've ever wanted is in that moment,
It's like revenge. You waited for the little kid to die. What's his name?
Joffrey.
Joffrey. You're waiting for Joffrey because he needed to die. And then after Joffrey, it was Ramsay.
Yep.
Yeah, you're waiting for him.
There's a lot of good deaths. We'll do a Game of Thrones Killshot season.
There you go. But yeah, that's our list. So I think it's a good time to go ahead and transition to the fan question.
Yeah, this one comes from Jordan McCormick via Instagram. Got it the other day. He asks, if you could be a part of any science fiction army, what would it be and why? You can choose 2 if you're having trouble deciding.
Oh, man.
Sci-fi army. I know you make a big deal about it going, you wish you were in Vietnam, but what about out there in the great fantasy sci-fi? We'll say fantasy and sci-fi.
Sure. Oh, man. I would love to be a Spartan. I think that would be cool. I would dedicate my body to the purpose and just become a roided up super soldier.
Yeah, they had a dedicated, strict society.
Yeah, or even like if I didn't get chosen for a Spartan, I'd try to go ODST.
ODST,
because they're regular guys.
Orbital drop shock troopers, baby.
Yeah, so I think I'd try to go for the Spartan Army, or just at least the USMC, UMSC. What we always screw this one up. USMC.
No, it's UNSC.
UNSC.
Yeah, UNSC. Because I always gives me I always get tongue tied.
Yeah, I do too.
I would have. I know
UN United Nations Space Command. There you go.
UNSC.
That'll be my answer. Is I will be an ODST member if I didn't make. Obviously, if I got no-go'd for Spartans.
Yeah. I would love to be... It's funny because we say army, but we're talking like elite units anyway. Like, I would love to be somebody like, kind of like how Snake was in Metal Gear Solid 3 Snake Eater, which takes place during the Cold War, like in the 50s. Because it's all about like camouflage and being alone, being isolated, it's just one person who's like designed to like sneak into any space, or somebody like in the future, Deus Ex, Human Revolution, or Deus Ex Mankind, anyway, the sequel to that one. But Deus Ex is sci-fi,
stuff
and
like
he's
that.
like an elite kind of he's like an elite. He's got these cybernetic augmentations and stuff, and like all he does is like do these one-off missions or like one-man army kind of missions and stuff. And I wouldn't want to be like a regular soldier in any story because it's like if
it's kind of hard
a choice. Yeah, I'm going to be the elite soldier.
Yeah. I'll be honest, there was a foreign film that just came out on Netflix. I started watching it the other day. It's called Black Crab. Have you seen it?
No, I haven't heard of it.
It's cool. It's cool. They do stuff on ice skates.
Oh, wow.
Yeah, it's like that. I've never seen that been done before.
Yeah, that is
like the infill
neat.
is on ice skates.
Really?
Yeah, I haven't finished it, but like it takes place in the like post-apocalyptic future or something. Okay. But I have to finish it. But it was kind of cool. I was like, oh, on ice skates, huh? That's a kind of cool infiltration method. But
it's hard to innovate on action and kills these days.
Yeah, there's been a lot of it's been done.
Yeah,
but yeah, ice skates, very cool. Black Crab. But anyways, cool question. We hope you got some satisfaction out of those answered, and if you didn't, I guess I'm sorry, John. Sorry.
I'm sorry.
But hey, it is time for the game,
all right.
And this game is called Name That Murder Tool. Yes. So by the name of the title, you could probably guess that this game is fun for all ages. Throughout our history, mankind has always had the necessity to create a weapon to finish the job, and possibly give it a wild name. So for this game, I'm going to give you the name of a weapon that has been throughout history, and you have to tell me whether it was an actual weapon or I made it up.
Oh, cool, man. Oh, I love these ones. Yeah.
Okay.
We get to flex our creativity muscles.
Exactly. Plus, it might be educational.
Yeah. You might get to see how creative other people have actually been.
Yes. So for this warm-up, pretty easy one, we are going to do Claymore.
It's a real one.
That is a real one.
Anybody who's gone through basic training knows what a claymore is.
Yes. This one specifically, though, I am referring to the Scottish two-handed sword famously used by William Wallace against the Brits.
Oh, the sword. Okay.
Yeah, but I also said the name of a U.S. anti-personnel man.
Okay.
So you are absolutely right, man. But these next ones are very specific.
All right.
So are you ready?
I'm ready.
And we got 7 of them.
All right. That's cool, man.
7 weapons. Okay, here we go. Round 1, Spadroon.
Spadroon?
The Spadroon.
Spadroon. It sounds like it's combining two different things. The Spadroon. Almost sounds like a Splatoon, the video game Splatoon.
There's a video game called Splatoon.
Splatoon. It's like a kid's like paintball game.
Oh,
kind of thing.
okay.
But wacky.
I was thinking it was like Secret Platoon or something. Something violent.
What's this one called again?
Spadroon.
Spadroon. A Spadroon. A Spadroon. Sounds like spoon or space drone missile thing. Spadroon. 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 You know, man, just because I've never heard of this word my entire life, and I've been around the world, man, I'm going to say it's a fake weapon.
The Spadroon is a real weapon.
What?
Yes. This one-handed weapon had a straight blade with a 3-shaped hilt, mostly favored by naval officers. It had a 5-ball stirrup for a hilt. A Spadroon had a central fuller with a single edge. It was similar to the German rapier, except it had a double edge. This style spread to France and was called a la Anglaise, English sword. The U.S. adopted the pattern to create the Federal period eagle heads.
Wow, Spadroon.
Yeah. Spadroon. So
Almost
it was.
Sounds like Dragoon.
It's basically, if you Google an image of it, it looks exactly like a rapier.
Okay.
Yeah, so it is an actual weapon.
Good.
But okay, man.
Hey, I might have lost the question, but I won the intellectual education board.
No, you did. You've been around the world, don't you forget. All right, round 2. Are you ready?
Yep.
The Chupsha.
The Chupsha.
The Chupsha.
The Chupsha. I'm trying to read your face to see if the pupils are dilated and you're lying, you know. Chupsha.
They're always dilated.
Chupsha. It's so funny because I based my answer the last time off of whether or not I thought it sounded ridiculous. This one sounds just as ridiculous. The Chupsha. The Chupsha.
Think about it. You got a lot of countries out there that have their own weapons.
You're right. And Chupsha sounds, I'm going to sound racist here, but I mean like maybe Filipino or like could be Chinese, maybe African, or it could be European or American or South American.
Okay.
So I just went all around the world.
Sure.
Chupsha. I'm going to say it's fake. I'm going to play the odds on this. I'm going to say it's fake.
Yes, it is
Oh,
fake.
thank God.
And actually, I actually really like how you kept repeating the word Chupsha, because it actually is. It's a Pashto phrase that means shut up.
That's awesome.
So overseas, they taught us that word in Afghanistan. So they're like, if they're making noise, just say Chupsha.
That's awesome.
So you're like, Chupsha. And I'm like, hey, man, calm down.
Shut up.
Shut up.
That's awesome.
But yeah, okay. So yeah, you got that one right. Chupsha it's not a made-up weapon. It is a real phrase. It means shut up in Pashto.
I like that it's not a weapon, but it is a real phrase.
Yes.
You didn't just make up a word out of your brain.
No.
Yeah.
And I'm like, that could definitely sound like, because I was going through the list of some of these weapons, and I'm like, yeah, Chupsha sounds
Yeah, the M89
like,
Chupsha.
Yeah. Okay, so very good. Got that one. You're going for one. Here we go, round 3. The Bohemian ear spoon.
The Bohemian ear spoon. Bohemian, huh?
Bohemian ear spoon.
Bohemian ear spoon. The ear spoon. I'm going to say that this is fake because Bohemian, I don't think Bohemian's like, I don't think, is that even a country or something like that? Bohemia? I'm going to say it's fake because Bohemian sounds, it's like a wander or whatever. It's like Bohemian lifestyle. So I'm going to say it's fake.
You are incorrect. It is a real weapon.
Bohemian ear spoon?
The Bohemian ear spoon is a pole arm featuring a long, broad, socketed spearhead with 2 outturned lugs at the base of the head, forming a guard similar to that of a boar spear, derived ultimately from early medieval lugged spear, and the ear spoon developed in the 14th century.
Dude, you went deep.
I went deep.
You went deep for
I went
these
very
ones, man.
deep for this one. But okay.
Dude. All right, I'm good at the fake ones. I'm not very good at the real ones.
Yeah, okay. But anyways, let's keep the ball rolling here, man. Round 4 coming at you hot and ready. Lil C's, the Roman scissor.
The Roman scissor. That sounds like a wrestling move.
Yeah.
He's got him in the Roman
there
scissor.
There it is, the Roman scissor. Oh my God.
From the top rope. The Roman scissor. Well, I mean, scissors are a thing, but what is a Roman scissor? I'm going to play the odds the other way now. I'm going to say it's a real thing. Roman scissor.
You are correct, my friend. It is a real weapon. The Roman scissors, comprised of steel tube worn around the forearm with a semicircular blade attached to it. The weapon was used to block opponents' blows and then quickly counterattack.
Wow, almost like an Assassin's
So it literally,
Creed
it's like
type
a
thing.
gauntlet that goes over the hand, and it literally just has this like giant U-shaped blade coming out of it.
Nice, almost like in RoboCop, the original RoboCop. When the dude's out in the junkyard and he's got RoboCop pinned, and RoboCop has like a thing where his fist flips down and he's got like a spike that he can use to read data, but then he just uses it to stab the guy in the neck.
It's not a stabby thing. Just imagine like a U.
Oh, it's like a blade. It looks like you know, catch it, hit it away, and then
those like medieval booby traps, the like blade that would swing like that.
Cool.
Yeah, so imagine
the pendulum
that.
Kind
yeah,
of
the
thing.
pendulum thing. Imagine that, but flipped upside down on a gauntlet.
Wow.
Yeah,
not too bad.
So that's the Roman scissor.
You have to be careful with that and get your arm chopped off.
I know, right? Be careful with that Roman scissor. You always carry it face down. Okay, you got that one, man. Don't poke your eye out. We're moving on. Round 5. The man catcher.
The man catcher.
The man catcher.
This one sounds familiar. Like, I think I've heard of this one, almost like a hook or a pole arm or something like that. So I'm going to say it's real. The man catcher is a real thing.
It is a real thing. It is a pole weapon that was used in the 18th century to pull people off horses and drag them to the ground. The victim would typically be wearing armor so the prongs wouldn't kill them. But it's pretty much, imagine a giant pole, and it has a giant semicircle on it with an opening that you can put on someone's neck, and then in the opening was a bunch of spikes.
Oh.
So you would go for their neck, and then it would attach, and you would rip them off the horse with it.
Nice.
The man catcher.
Man catcher.
Nice. All right. You're doing great, my friend.
Yeah.
We got 2 more of Name That Murder Tool. Are you ready?
Let's do it.
All right. Round 6. The cat toy.
The cat toy.
The cat toy.
The cat toy. This sounds ridiculous. It sounds like the little piece of the plastic pole you have with the little string and the
little feather on the end.
Yeah, the feather on the end, so the cat's like going after it.
Yeah.
I'm gonna say this one's fake. The cat toy is fake. I don't know that any self-respecting weapons, murder tool designer would ever name anything cat toy. It's fake.
You are correct. I made this up. All right. I thought it would get you because, I mean, you have the man catcher, the Bohemian ear spoon.
That one threw me off.
Yeah, but no, good. You got that one, man. Coming right up on round 7 here. Are you ready? Last one.
All right.
The kiss of death.
The kiss of death.
The kiss of death.
Well, see, the kiss of death. Oh, I'm thinking of Kiss of the Dragon, that Jet Li movie where it's like a special technique that it can use to like block somebody's blood flow so that their blood comes out their eyes and ears. That's what
cool.
it uses at the very end, the Kiss of the Dragon. The kiss of death. The kiss of death. I mean, like, freaking so many things could be the kiss of death. It could be a gun. It could be a sword. It could be a poison, you know? So I'm just going to say, because it sounds so amazing, I'm going to say yes. So broad, the kiss of death is a real thing.
You are correct.
Ooh.
The kiss of death is a real thing. Referred to as the kiss of death, the lipstick pistol was employed by the KGB operatives during the Cold War. This 4.5 millimeter single shot weapon was disguised as a tube of lipstick easily hidden in a purse. The existence of such a weapon was detected at border crossing into West Berlin.
Dude, freaking so inventive back in the Cold War era because it was all cloak and dagger.
It was all cloak and dagger, espionage. Well, man,
good one. You way to bring the history lesson on this one.
Thanks.
Man.
I'm trying to make them fun yet educational. Well, you did great, man. I think you got every single one except for the Bohemian ear spoon and the chupsha. So what? You 5 for 7?
Yeah, man. I'm
not
very
bad.
very happy. I've redeemed myself since the last
Yes, you
game.
did.
Now it's anybody's game.
It's anybody's game. And folks, we hope you enjoyed playing along. We hope you learned something about crazy weapons throughout history, but most importantly, we hope you enjoyed this episode of Killshot. Again, way too many kills to actually make one episode, so you can bet your bottom dollar we will be doing a part 2 of Killshot.
We hope you can join us, folks. Until then, cue music.